At Housing Wire, we know that staying ahead in the housing industry means having the right tools and technology at your fingertips. That's why we're bringing you Demo Day, a curated experience designed to showcase the latest and most innovative solutions in the mortgage and real estate space. I'm Allison LaForgia, the managing editor of the Content Studio, and today we're diving into Inflooens. With Inflooens, you'll save time, reduce complexity, and close deals faster. By streamlining the mortgage process into one intuitive platform, you'll enhance efficiency, improve borrower satisfaction, and gain a competitive edge, empowering you to focus on growing your business and delivering exceptional customer experiences. Marty Clark from Inflooens is joining us. Marty, take us through the platform.
All right, so I'm going to jump into Inflooens and show, first off, what our lead management system capabilities look like. The underlying concept here is that everything is actionable. So I'm looking at currently my book of business. I'm going to jump over to my priorities. There is, prioritization ultimately that's happening in the back end based on your organization's, top priorities, things that you might want to call out. All of this is configurable. So this view provides a ton of information at the loan officer's fingertips to keep them in this single pane of glass concept. Each of these are clickable, right? So if I want to call this borrower, if I want to email them, text them, it's keeping me in this same screen, but also giving me the ability to mass text and communicate with any of these clients simultaneously. So by selecting all of these leads here, I have all of these different tools available at my fingertips. I can even customize my screen and my colors to make them more pertinent if something is more of a priority than others. But each of these things are available at my fingertips. I'm going to actually go in and show what one of the lead flyouts look like and the information that's available within the flyout. As I scroll through here, I have a number of different tabs, tons of information that's organized within the lead flyout. I'm going to scroll through here and show you here's your high-level info, your loan information. I can pull credit directly from this screen. I'm going to go ahead and mark consent and show you what those screens look like. Jump in here and I can select a soft or hard pull. I can even designate which credit provider I'd like to use. Once that credit is pulled, the system's going to pull in all the information for me, in addition to every single payment, an aggregate of what the revolving debt looks like, the installment debt, mortgage debt. And ultimately, the system is also telling me that I have new opportunities. So while this lead may have been created as a purchase lead, it's actually coming in, and because of the information available from the credit report, it's telling me that there is an amount of revolving debt that would have potential opportunity for this borrower as well for a refinance situation, because it's recognizing that mortgage exists on the credit report as well. So assuming that my borrower does want to pursue a refinance and look at consolidating all of this revolving debt, I type in the potential interest rate here, and then I can go in and see what that potential savings is. So here it's showing me the potential savings, 15-year, 30-year. It's showing me the estimated potential savings in each scenario. I'm going to go ahead and run product and pricing. Jumping into my pricing engine, all of that information is cleanly pulling through into this view. All I've got to do is, look over a couple of things, submit it, and it's going to give me what those pricing scenarios and available products are. I can go in and view those details, select a couple of scenarios that I want to send out to the borrower real quick. I'm still on the phone with them, moving super fast. I can go in and hit send quote. It's going to pull up my email communication as well as the PDF that I'm sending out to that borrower directly within the screen itself. So here's my product quote. Nice, beautiful looking PDF that explains what all these things mean and also includes both of those pricing scenarios. So I'm going to do a quick view of that. I can review it while I'm on the phone with the borrower if necessary, but I've also got this email that I can send out to the borrower so that they've got a copy without us even having jumped off the phone. Now that my borrower has consented, right, let's say that experience was wonderful, I'm going to go and request documentation from them so that I can get this file over to processing and hopefully move forward and get this loan funded. So I'm going to go ahead and let's say I'm just requesting additional documents for now. I go in, request, let's say it's just the ID. I'm going to add those documents to my request and send the request directly from within Inflooens. That's going to post a requirement to my borrower's portal. They can go in and see a real-time list of what they need to provide me in order to move towards the next steps. Now that my borrower has committed, they've sent documentation back. Now it's time to show you the piece where the processor steps in. So here's a view of what that loan dashboard looks like. You can see that it's the same information. However, it's been reskinned in a way that provides more of a task-based workflow for the processor. The same timeline also exists, so that timeline has carried over. My processor has insight into everything that's happened on this client record, not just with this loan, but the actual client's record itself. So I can see the SMSs that have been sent, calls that have taken place, right down to kind of the finite details of everything that's happened on this client's particular journey with our organization. You can even see where I can pop out the email and see exactly what email was sent. Maybe I actually want to follow up on that particular email. I can edit it directly from that view and send it out to the borrower. It's also going to contain my high-level loan information, so my loan summary, my important dates, kind of the timeline that I've set out for this particular type of loan, which is all templated and configurable in the back end of Inflooens. I can capture my transaction partners within this view. So I've got my insurance agent, my buyer's agent. I can subscribe them for a different communication based on rules and automation that I set up in the back end. I can request documentation and also communicate with them from this view. There's even automation pulling in the right email template based on the fact that I selected the insurance agent. So these merge fields are built in here so that my processor or even my loan officer who's using these dynamic templates, they can click a few buttons and within 3 clicks, a max of 10 seconds at times, they're sending out that communication that's beautifully crafted, right? Marketing approved, branded, all that good stuff, all in one email with just a few clicks. I'm going to jump down real quick and show you how the tasks and conditions work. So the entire framework behind the operations piece is that it's a dynamic task-based workflow. So here's a list of the conditions that are going to populate on this particular loan. So just kind of a sample size of what those look like. The conditions are created based on dynamic characteristics of the loan and the client itself. So maybe I've got a purchase transaction where I know that there is a value in the earnest money field. So that condition is going to populate dynamically. I know I'm going to need to request that from the borrower. But as I'm doing a quick scan of these items that I need, I can actually select a few of these. Maybe they don't apply. The system created them as kind of a catch-all for me so I don't forget. But I need to select a couple and delete it, right? So I'm working through these. I can edit them actually from this view itself, or I can open up the entire flyout in order to track the status of that condition. I can also push out a request for those conditions directly to my borrower. So if I email the borrower conditions out, I've got a quick view of which ones I want to include in case there's, for some reason, something that I want to exclude from my communication. I click on my email borrower conditions button and it's going to pull up my email component so that I can then push that request out to them beautifully nested underneath the title of the description. So not only have I sent out that request and there's a paper trail of it directly in the system, but now my borrower is actually getting those requirements posted to their portal as well. So my loan officer comes in behind me. Maybe I'm on vacation, right? Somebody is coming in and helping out with this particular file. They should have an updated list of what those requirements are at any given time. Same framework exists for the tasks. So tasks are also a dynamic task-based workflow concept where my system is reading the characteristics of the loan and the client itself and creating these tasks for the borrower to work and maintain as that loan progresses. So maybe I've got title work that needs to be followed up on. I've got hazard insurance, things like that are going to be standard. But ultimately, those tasks are being created based on those specific characteristics. So you talk about a lot of baked in training here, different descriptions and videos that can be uploaded here to really kind of push the processor in the right direction, scalability and also reduced FTEs, reduced full-time employees. Headcount here, you're really able to leverage the capacity within your department without having to, have somebody go make an Excel document of what they need to have done for the day or come up with a massive email list of, hey, I'm going to be out tomorrow. What do I need to do for you? This really just kind of gives the capability to jump in and see all of that work that's been done. You can see the history on the tasks themselves. And what I also love about this is really the coachability, right? You start to, in my opinion, managers stop becoming task pushers and task managers and kind of, where things escalate to, and they start to really be able to coach more towards performance and look through how things are being executed in order to get loans funded. The checklist is another huge component of this. So again, you just see that baked in training and that kind of that guided workflow. There's a ton of other tools available within Inflooens. These tasks are going to pull into your work assignments view. As a manager, I can see kind of the health of my department. I can see each person, how they're doing, and I can drag and drop people to reassign those tasks if needed. I showed you the business partners a little bit. This is an entire component dedicated to those business partners and prior successes. How often have I worked with them? And also just making their information easily accessible within the system. I've got my mortgage call report capability, which is something we're really excited about. A ton of different capability here to be able to generate these call reports on demand. And then also I wanted to show you the retention workspace real quick. So we've got closed loans here. I'm back in my lead management view. I can see these closed loans at any given time, and I can also start to mine some of these activities. So maybe I want to push out some communication to those closed loans. I've got all that information available at my fingertips to be able to really re-engage those borrowers and ensure that I maintain that book of business.
Let's jump into some questions and explore some more of the capabilities of Inflooens and how the platform supports industry professionals by bringing mortgage to a single screen.
Yeah.
How does Inflooens address some of the primary operational pain points that are seen in the industry?
Yeah, so I think that Inflooens addresses every aspect of daily work, as from a loan officer perspective, from a processor perspective. People are no longer going and hunting and pecking for different details, the way I like to put it. Processors aren't reprocessing loans, right, every day to kind of figure out and just prioritizing from a closing date perspective. They actually are able to daily go in and work on different tasks that are important that day. In terms of just pain points overall, I think transparency is always a big pain point. From internal transparency to communicating directly with borrowers, everybody kind of having that active list of things that need to happen in order to move on to that next phase in the mortgage process. To me, that is huge. You're not having to ask questions or, bother your processor or bother their manager to escalate something. You've really got somewhere where the system is giving you, like I said, it's that guided workflow, but it's also giving you all the tools that, people ask me like, well, isn't this a lot of work for the processor? And it's like, well, it's just putting it somewhere where you can see it, right? In one place where you can see it. Processors are still doing all that work. They're just living in 5 different systems to do it. So I think in terms of pain points, and as somebody who's been in operations before, it addresses really all of my major pain points. And I always say that I love the role that I'm in now, but I also would have loved so much to have had this. Like maybe I should go back to processing for a little bit because it's just so exciting to me that something like this exists now, So that was my long answer, but I think that in terms of addressing pain points, this is really a game changer.
So you mentioned that this platform genuinely excites you. What do you think excites you the most about working with Inflooens and the potential that the platform has to really transform the industry?
Yeah, I think that what excites me the most about working with Inflooens is, and I kind of alluded to this already, right, that I think it's really going to be something that employees also love to engage with, like having an actual system where they're not jumping out to 10 different places to work on things. They're not having to, like I said, hunt and peck and pick up the pieces of where they left off because it's right in front of them. So, as somebody who has kind of lived that life previously, that it really excites me, the fact that, our employees in this industry also have tools available to them that they would actually enjoy working with rather than being so cumbersome all the time.
That is amazing. But I'm going to ask you one of the harder questions here and get down to some brass tacks. What kind of feedback have you actually received from lenders who are using the platform?
Yeah. So, I think one of the most stressful things about this industry is when things go wrong, right? So my borrower's upset, something happened. How do I give employees a tool that is going to take away the meaningless, tedious tasks that they have to do every day and really focus on borrower service. And so that's one of the things that we have heard the most is it really gives me time to focus on the things that really do require my skill set, as opposed to typing up emails all day or copying and pasting fields into those emails, right? Or as a loan officer, trying to spend hours upon hours throughout the week trying to like put a quote together. I mean, you saw me do it in a matter of seconds, right? So I think that's one of the things that we hear the most positive feedback about and the most excitement from lenders that we work with and other clients is just their ability to now focus on things that are going to increase their customer service scores and also their customer retention, right? So our CEO, he loves to talk about this particular statistic that in other industries, the retention rate for customers is approximately 74%. And in the mortgage industry, it's 18%. So how do we enable lenders and other service providers and financial institutions to help with their retention and to make that customer service experience so much more positive so that that retention play is not so difficult every time, right? That their customers are going to be so excited to go back to them, that that experience was so amazing that they have that customer for life. And then that just, continues to build on their organization's success. So I don't know, all of those things are super exciting to me, like from an employee perspective to enhance that experience, but then also to have that kind of impact on our borrowers as well.
It sounds like it really is a platform that has the potential to transform the industry. Thank you so much for taking us through Inflooens.